see the slides, our next topic is about the ethical issues related to technology and delivery of healthcare. It's actually another critically important topic that affects everyone, of every one of you, saka yung mga nurses of today, and you as nurses of the future. So it's going to affect you. As technology transforms healthcare, future nurses like you are on the front lines of navigating these complex ethical challenges. Okay, so that's why there's a need for us to discuss this in bioethics and research. Now, let's start with this fundamental question. Why does technology ethics matter so much in nursing today? Actually, every time, you just imagine, every time you click a mouse, you type on a keyboard, or use a medical device, you are making ethical decisions, in nursing, in healthcare. These aren't just technical tasks. They're actually ethical actions with consequences. Okay? Because the nursing of today and you as future nurses, you are facing a dual challenge. We are all facing this dual challenge because nursing sits at the intersection of two rapidly evolving worlds, which is healthcare and technology. And this intersection creates unique ethical challenges na hindi pa nag-exist before in traditional nursing practice. Imagine si Florence Nightingale, when she was practicing during her time. That's in the 18th century, 1850s. When she was practicing nursing, she was facing challenges like sanitation and infection control. During the Crimean War in the Scutari Hospital. Pero ngayon, ang mga nurses are facing challenges like, should I share my password to my colleague? So my colleague can quickly access the patient record? Can I document this patient's care using a template from a similar case? These are not faced by Florence Nightingale. These are new ethical dilemmas, born from technology. Okay? So yun. Let's look at the numbers, why technology matters. Because as you can see in the slide, there you can see the statistics. But these are not just numbers. They're not just statistics. They represent real patients and real risks. That a nurse can face every day. Okay? Let's say, for example, yung electronic health records of hospitals. In the United States, 90% of the hospitals are now using electronic health records. In mga first world countries, majority of the hospitals are using electronic health records. Although dito sa Pilipinas, konti lang ang hospitals na merong electronic health records. Although the DOH is currently have its major project to digitize the electronic health records across the Philippines. And then 50% of healthcare interactions. Okay? Half of these patient encounters use some form of technology. It involves digital technology. Okay? Also, according to statistics, in 2023, healthcare organizations experienced data breaches. Okay? Vast majority of healthcare organizations were hacked, in simple terms. And the average cost of a data breach is about $1 million. It's about $10.1 million. So imagine that $10.1 million figure, it might sound like gastos yun ng hospital, ng organization. Pero imagine kung yung $10 million na yun could have been spent more on nurses, better equipment, improved patient care. Ha? Pero ginastos lang because of that data breach caused by the hackers. Okay? In the end, it is the patients who are paying the price because of identity theft, medical fraud, and lost trust. Each of you in the future will use electronic health records daily. Each of you will work with technology because technology makes healthcare more efficient. However, technology also makes healthcare more vulnerable. So understanding the ethical issues, in technology used in the healthcare delivery system isn't just optional. Understanding the ethical issues in this context is not just optional. It's actually essential to your future practice. All right? Now, let's take a look at the unique role of nurses in the advent of technology. Because nurses are not just users of healthcare technology. You are actually viewed as ethical guardians of this technology because you are in the front line. Right? In the front line. So you are actually the ethical guardians of this technology used in healthcare delivery system. And there are 5 unique responsibilities of the nurses. Una, you need to operate technology. You need to know operating technology because it directly affects patient care. Like for example, when you use a smart pump, or a barcode scanner, or a monitoring device whenever you administer medication, you're actually making a clinical decision. And in these barcode scanners, smart pump, monitoring device, merong mga safety protocols doon. If you bypass the safety protocols, the patients can be harmed. Okay? Pangalawa, na unique responsibility ng nurse is to document digitally every aspect of patient interaction. Every click, every entry, every deletion creates a permanent record. And this deletion, this click, this entry can actually protect you or it can create liability in you. Ano yung sa liability? You can actually be sued because of that click, because of that entry, and because of what you have deleted. Okay? In the healthcare record. Pangatlo, the first line of defense against technology errors and security breaches has to be understood very well by the nurse. Na yun ang kanyang unique responsibility. First line siya of defense. Because the nurse will often be the one to first to notice if something is wrong. Like for example, a strange email. Yung pala phishing email siya. Or a system acting unusual. Biglang nag-ask ng system upgrade. Or a colleague doing something questionable. Inihiram ni colleague yung password mo. Or kaya mag-i-email siya sa iyo ng patient information using her personal email. So that is something questionable. Again, those are suspicious activities. And you are to notice these things and report them because you are the security system, first line of defense. Okay? Pang-apat, your unique responsibility is to become patient advocates again. When technology threatens care or quality. Because sometimes, technology makes things harder rather than easier. Akala natin, mas madali, hindi ka na magsusulat ng napakarami. Ta-type mo na lang doon sa system. Hindi ka pa magsasayang ng papel. So akala natin it's convenient, it's easier. But actually, technology can make things harder because you must advocate for your system, for your patients when systems fail or when privacy is compromised. Kasi ikaw nga yung ethical guardian. And number 5, unique responsibility of the nurse is to understand ethical implications. Kaya ngayon pa lang, as student nurses, we're doing this discussion and even those mga case scenarios para you are consciously aware of what possible ethical implications these decisions and actions have, these cases and issues have. Ano yung mga ethical conflicts? Ano dapat ang resolution? Ano dapat ang justification? Ano dapat ang moral evaluation? Okay? So you need to know not just how to use technology, but the ethical implications of using that technology. Okay? Now let me ask you, as you heard, no, and as you read these 5 unique responsibilities, which do you think of these 5 responsibilities do you feel most prepared for? So, tingin nyo kayang-kaya ninyo. At alin naman dito yung medyo worried kayo? Anyone? Walang mag-volunteer?
For me po yung from our, since may subject, it involves high risk.
No? The system from these security breaches. Ano yung pwedeng magawa ni nurse? We will discuss it later. Doon sa sinabi mong document digitally every aspect of patient interaction, di ba may informatics kayo? May nursing informatics kayo?
Opo.
Oo. Tapos na kayo mag-discuss ng electronic health records, right?
Nag-aano pa lang po, miss, nagsisimula pa lang po kami sa pag-digital na charting po.
Okay, so that's good. Karon, kumbaga ma-relate nyo yon dito sa dinidiscuss natin, no, on bioethics and research. Okay? Any other answer? Aside from what Sherian nag-concern ka, ano kung ano yung pwede ninyo? Taka ko ng graded recipe. Is it because of the online,
threatens care quality or privacy, and when it comes to the patient technology, when it comes to care. And for the concerns, I would say is that 5 for me personally, for understanding ethical implications of technology use, because especially in this day and age of when the internet is very much widespread, there is a cause for concern of what kind of treatments that are being put out, whether or not they should be validated, whether or not they are they can be a potential use for certain conditions. And I would say that it would be a concern for me because it can be hard to designate what would be the right treatment for the right patient po. That's about it, ma'am.
sorry, I think for you is understanding yung operating technology directly affecting patient care. I think you will find this also easier because every technology naman, syempre i-instruct kayo, bibigyan kayo orientation on how to use it, etc. Like what you are doing right now sa nursing informatics, you're now you will have discussions on electronic health records, etc. So basically, matututunan nyo rin on how to operate technology. But you have to remember that it is your duty. No, it is your role, no, to know how to operate these different technology in the healthcare. Okay. Next, let's talk about data protection and security overview. Kasi yung kanina, yung binanggit no ni Sherian kanina, na worry niya yung first line of defense against technology errors and security breaches. Now let's talk about the data protection and security. So the data protection, is the most critical area of healthcare technology ethics because patient information is at stake. So the fundamental tension we face is how do we balance rapid access to patient information for optimal care while simultaneously protecting, that information from unauthorized use. Um, as a nurse, you need patient information now to provide care. As an ethical professional, you must protect that information from anyone who shouldn't have it. And these two needs can sometimes be in conflict. Okay. Now, we need to understand, una, what are these protected health information? Okay. This protected health information includes identifying information of the patient, their health information, their digital IDs. Specifically sa identifying information, ano na ba yung kasama dyan? Yung kanilang pangalan, yung kanilang birth dates, yung kanilang address, yung phone numbers nila. Sa health information naman ng patient, yung kanilang diagnosis, yung kanilang treatment plans, the prescriptions, yung mga lab results, those are part of the health information of the patient. Yung kanilang digital IDs naman or identifiers would include their email addresses, yung kanilang social security numbers, yung kanilang medical record numbers. Okay? So dapat alam natin itong mga protected health information because this isn't just a technical term. Diba? These are the health information that we need to protect. So imagine a patient, like Maria, who has a complex medical history. Her protected health information includes her name, her address, her diagnosis of diabetes, her medication list, and her medical record number. Now, if any of this information is exposed, of course, it might appear like it will not hurt Maria, but it could enable medical identity theft, where someone else gets treatment using her identity and insurance. Okay? So when the protected health information is compromised, there are consequences that occur in multiple layers. And this includes patient harm, financial harm or financial impact, yung trauma, emotional trauma to the patient, the legal consequences or professional consequences sa healthcare worker, at syempre sa reputation ng hospital. Okay? So yun. Some of these consequences might be devastating to the patient. Like for example, harm. Yung kanyang identity, nakuha, yung insurance niya na nagamit ng iba. Incorrect treatments, fraudulent prescriptions can occur because of that medical identity theft. Trauma can devastate also the patient, the emotional trauma of being violated of one's privacy, yung kanyang loss of trust, yung psychological distress. And sometimes financial cost to the patient, especially if medical bills will be affected. Okay? So yun. Now, what are the unique nursing responsibilities in data protection? Ito ay dapat alam niyo. Since alam niyo na what could happen if magkaroon ng breach in the data, let's talk about the specific actionable responsibilities of the nurse. Because these aren't just suggestions These are actually your duties. So unang-una dyan yung access control. Which means, sa access control,
Sa akin lang po, yung kaninang tinuturo. Opo, ma'am.
to let me know kasi sayang yung oras.
Opo, ma'am.
Nakatingin ako sa aking slide. Something is wrong. So what happened? Ba't biglang nawala? Anyway, so going back again, no? Since alam nyo what can happen, no? Ano yung mangyayari, anong consequence kapag nagkaroon ng data breach? Kailangan alam niyo yung mga responsibilities ninyo. So let's discuss the specific actionable responsibilities as nurses. Because these aren't just suggestions. These are actually your duties. So unang-una dyan, yung access control. Sa access control, we have a rule. The minimum necessary principle. No? Ano ba ibig sabihin ng minimum necessary principle? Only access records needed for your current care. The minimum na ma-access ninyo ang patient record only when needed, the better. Para maiwasan din ang data breach. Pero kapag the more na na-access ang patient record unnecessarily, kahit hindi kailangan, more likely din na magkakaroon ng data breach. Example, may patient ka. You need to administer his medication. So you need to access his electronic health record to verify the medication. Importante yon. Pero kung ang reason mo is curious ka about another patient na patient mo kahapon, tapos na-transfer siya sa ICU kahapon, na curious ka ano nang nangyari kay Mrs. Is dun sa patient na yon. So even though you have access to her records, it's unethical for you to open her record kasi currently you don't have a need for it. Curiosity lang yon. Sabi nga, curiosity kills the cat. Okay? So even though you have access, you shouldn't be accessing the patient record. Because accessing her records would violate the minimum necessary principle. Malinaw? The more people who have access to patient data, the greater the risk of accidental or intentional misuse. Okay, number 2, yung authentication in session management. Never share your passwords or login credentials. Ito ay hard rule, hindi ito suggestion. Example, sa ward, sobrang busy. Yung friend mo, nakulig mo, nag-ask, pwede ko bang gamitin yung account mo, mag-login lang ako to access this patient record? Kasi hindi ako makapag-login ng mabilis sa account ko. Maybe you will think, okay lang. Friend ko naman siya. But actually, when you share your password, ay may problema. You can't track who accessed what patient records. If something goes wrong, there's no accountability. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin ikaw 'yun. O hindi mo pwedeng siya 'yun. Kasi pag ni-review pag nag-audit, ang makikita doon na nag-access ay ikaw. Also, pag binira mo yung password mo, you have already compromised the authentication system because pinagamit mo yung password mo to someone else. Okay? So, ang best practice dito is dapat to use unique passwords nga. Tapos, always log out when you leave your workstation. At kung kinakailangan, may multi-factor authentication when available. Pangatlong duty is the physical security. You have to lock your computer screens when you leave your desk. Secure your mobile devices containing patient data. And never leave patient records visible on unattended screens. Example, nasa nurse station ka, nagja-chart ka dun sa EHR. Tapos bigla pinatawag ka sa ER. Tapos nakalimutan mo to lock your screen. And then another nurse o pwedeng isang bisita, makikita niya yung mga sensitive information doon. And this isn't just a simple mistake. It's actually a serious ethical breach of data privacy. Kasi may unnecessary disclosure. Okay? Fourth duty is data handling and transmission. You have to use encrypted channels for transmitting protected health information. Avoid public Wi-Fi and never send, especially for work-related tasks, avoid public Wi-Fi. And never send to your personal email any data about the patient. Never send patient data to your personal email. Okay? For example, yung friend mo ulit, na colleague mo, emails you a list of patient medications using their personal Gmail account. Kasi sabi niya, yung hospital email kasi yung bagal. Dito na lang para mas mabilis. What he did, or what she did is actually a major security risk. Because the personal email accounts don't have the same security protection as institutional systems. Okay? Now let me ask you, which among these four are the most common violated? Which among these four is the most, you think is the most commonly violated in clinical practice? O, di ba, nanonood kayo ng mga medical series drama, Dr. House, Hospital Playlist, Grey's Anatomy, The Good Doctor, etc. So, o kaya pumupunta naman kayo ng hospital, o kaya ngayon, nagro-rotation na kayo, di ba? So which do you think
Bigla
of
nawala
these
yung
four?
PPT po.
O yung question ko, which of these four do you think is
Authentication and session time pressured po.
the most common? Sa observation nyo lang, ha? Observation nyo lang.
Po, yung number 3 might get into the hands of the wrong person po.
Yes, no? Tsaka sa din, yung biglang, dahil sa sobrang busy natin sa ward, maraming pasyente, yung colleagues, biglang may ganito, biglang may ganyan. So sometimes you will forget to lock your computer screens. Okay? So, yan. Now, after discussing those violations, or those things that are most commonly violated, yung mga responsibilities na minsan hindi nagagawa ni nurse, Now let's talk about the CIA framework. Okay? Ano ba yung CIA framework na to? Hindi ito yung Central Intelligence Agency, no, na sa United States. CIA actually stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And these three elements must be balanced for comprehensive data protection or protected health information. Hindi pwedeng isa lang ang focus mo or two. You actually need all three, no, to ensure that the health information are protected comprehensively. So let's take a look at one by each one. Confidentiality, ito alam nyo na to. Simula pa lang ng first few weeks natin, we've been talking about confidentiality, which simply means protecting sensitive information from unauthorized disclosure. And this is perhaps the most familiar ethical principle to nurses. Dahil alam natin that patient information should only be accessible to authorized individuals. Kaya when you discuss the patient's details, no, yung case niya in public areas, when you share information without authorization, you're actually breaching confidentiality. Pangalawa, integrity. Integrity means maintaining data accurate and complete throughout its life cycle. No? What do you mean by this? Mula dun sa admission, nag-assess ka, nag-diagnose ka, yung treatment plans, yung interventions that were given or received by the patient, yung mga evaluation checklist mo, dapat every detail should be complete and accurate. And healthcare data integrity is directly linked to patient safety and treatment quality. Dahil pag yun na, alam niyo yan sa nursing process ninyo. Pag mali yung assessment data, hindi inaccurate ang assessment data, anong nangyayari? Inaccurate din, inappropriate din ang diagnosis. Tapos yung treatment plan, edi inappropriate din. At mali rin yung intervention na marireceive. So, yun. Kaya the consequence nung ating yung integrity is too much because it can actually harm the patient if napabayaan natin yung integrity ng data. Okay, the patients could be harmed. Next is availability. Availability means ensuring authorized users ay magkaroon ng access sa system whenever they need the data of the patient. Because in healthcare, availability can literally mean life or death. For example, sa emergency, merong coding emergency in the middle of the night. E paano kung yung electronic health record system is down? Hindi mo ma-access yung critical patient history. This will delay the care. And this delay could have serious consequences for patient care. Because we all know what happens in a coding emergency, the cardiac arrest patient. Pero syempre bago man lang kailangan i-check yung kanyang mga drug allergy, etc., yung kanyang case, etc. Okay? So yun. So ang key insight dito sa tatlong to ay balance. No? Since they are interconnected, they should be balanced. Because too much emphasis on confidentiality may reduce availability. Saan nangyayari to? Kapag too much yung confidentiality. If ang authentication is too complex, ang daming multiple layers. No? Halimbawa, emergency nga, tapos mayroong mga multiple factor authentication process. So dapat si hospital, meron siyang way to emergency access the information. Pero dapat yung emergency access na yon should be documented and should be justified and documented later on, post-event. No? After that situation, kailangan mag-document si nurse. Okay? Pag masyado namang nag-focus sa integrity, it may also slow availability. Same din yung sa verification. No? Dito sa authentication. Dito naman sa verification. Halimbawa, ilang beses din. So, hindi rin agad ma-access. So, same din. Sana merong emergency access. Pangatlo, kung paano kapag excessive naman yung availability? No, it may compromise confidentiality. Lalo na kung ang emergency bypass protocols are weak. So, pwedeng ma-compromise yung confidentiality ng data. So, successful healthcare security programs balance all three elements, no, while prioritizing patient safety above all. Okay? Pero syempre, pag-usapan natin in details, paano ini-ensure yung confidentiality, yung integrity, yung availability, at ano yung mga circumstances that necessitates these three. Let's take a look at the availability muna. Let's dive deeper into availability, ensuring access when needed. There are components, no, of healthcare availability. Ito dapat naiintindihan natin. Una, yung system uptime. Ano ibig sabihin? That electronic health records, medication systems, diagnostic tools, they must be operational 24/7 for the whole year for 365 days. Okay? 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Dapat operational ang electronic health records, medication systems, and diagnostic tools. Because ang healthcare naman ay walang business hours. The patients need care 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year. So systems must also be available. Okay? Pangalawang component ng healthcare availability is the backup system. Dapat merong real-time replication of patient data for disaster recovery. If the primary system fails, there must be a backup system immediately available. Okay? Pangatlo, yung redundancy. There should be multiple servers, network paths, and power supplies to prevent single points of failure. So, if one server fails, meron dapat another that will take over. If one network path goes down, meron dapat backup. Yung tawag dito ay redundancy. At yung pang-apat ay yung maintenance windows. Yes, available ang system 24/7. Pero meron din syempleng planned downtime for maintenance. Pero yung planned downtime na to, dapat during low activity periods. Usually nasa 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. yung systems maintenance. And it should be scheduled when patient care is least impacted or affected. Okay? So yun. In 2017, let's take a look at one example, no? Yung may real world impact yung sa availability. In 2007, nagkaroon ng ransomware attack. Sabihin may hacker. May hacker who affected 150 hospitals across 150 countries. Pero yung impact niya, hindi lang technical. Okay? Hindi lang technical yung impact ng ransomware attack na yun. Ang nangyari, some systems were down for days. No, hindi lang oras, hindi lang hours siya down. Yung emergency departments had to divert patients to other facilities. The scheduled surgeries were canceled because the staff couldn't access patient records o kaya yung surgical plans. Also, critical patients in intensive care had to be transferred. No, with incomplete medical information, imagine that. So that ethical failure in 2017, hindi lang siya technical, it was actually a failure to maintain patient access when technology fails. Okay? Because healthcare system cannot afford downtime. Every minute of unavailability delays delays patient care. It potentially causes harm to the patient and it wastes valuable resources. Okay? Kung sa factory, pag nagkaroon ng downtime ng system, yung production will stop, di ba? Magkakaroon ng financial cost. Pero in healthcare, pag nagkaroon ng downtime ng system, unnecessarily, people's lives are at stake. Okay? But sometimes security measures can reduce availability. Like for example, yun nga, yung two-factor authentication may slow access during emergencies. So ang balance na gagawin natin doon, ang resolution doon, yung kaninang binanggit ko, yung emergency protocol. No? Yung emergency access to bypass some authentication requirements. Pero dapat siya ay well documented. Okay? Now let's talk about integrity. Integrity is to maintain data accuracy and completeness. Ano ba yung mga threats to data integrity? Ito yung mga threats to data integrity. Una, unauthorized modification. May malicious change to patient records, orders, or results. Okay? Someone with access na dapat ay hindi magkaroon ng access, or someone na gumagamit ng legitimate access pero ginagamit niya ang legitimate access na yun for unethical purposes and then will change patient data. So those are unauthorized modifications. Pangalawang threat to data integrity is inadvertent errors. So ano ibig sabihin nun? Yung mga accidental deletions, na overwrite mo, yung incorrect entries. Kasi for example, pagod na pagod ka na after a 12-hour shift, accidentally may na-delete kang important lab result. Instead na isave mo siya, na-delete mo. At nangyayari yun. So it's a threat, no, to the data integrity. Pangatlo, yung system failure. Bawa, specifically data corruption during storage or transmission. Nag-crash yung system while data is being saved. Tuloy na-corrupt or nagkaroon ng incomplete records. So that's also a threat to data integrity. And pang-apat yung transcription errors. Misinterpretation of oral orders into written documentation. Bawa si doc nag-order verbally 10 mg daw ng medication. Pero ang na-document ni nurse doon sa AHR ay 100 mg. So ito ay transcription error that will compromise the integrity of the data. Okay? So ano ngayon ang mga mechanisms para ma-prevent yung or para prevent yung mga threats na to from affecting data integrity? Una dyan, yung digital signatures. Okay? Ano ba yung digital signatures? These are cryptographic verification authorship for electronic records and documents. Like for example, si Doc, he will electronically sign an order and it's cryptographically verified as coming from him personally. So this prevents unauthorized modification. Pangalawa, audit trails. The complete logs of those who accessed, who viewed, who modified, or deleted data and when. Because every action in an EHR is logged. You can see who accessed what, who accessed when, and who accessed what, and why they did it. Now, this creates accountability. No, yung mga audit trails na to. Pangatlo ay version control. You maintain history of changes to track modification. So, kung merong nagbago ng patient record, dapat si system, i-keep niya yung previous version. Okay? So, you can see what changed, when, and by whom. Pang-apat yung checksums. Ano ba yung checksums? These are actually mathematical verification that the data hasn't been altered during transmission when data is transmitted from one system to another. So merong mathematical calculation that verifies na walang nangyari habang the data was in transit. Okay? So yun. Now, ano ngayon ang pwedeng gawin ni nurse specifically to prevent these threats sa integrity ng data? Una, syempre, we verify before use. We confirm patient identity and data accuracy before acting on information. Like for example, before administering medication based on the electronic health record order, verify muna the order with the physician or check against the original order. Pangalawa, we document changes immediately. We document as we go. Hindi pwedeng mamaya na at the end of the shift. Kasi kapag mamaya na at the end of the shift ka mag-document, chances are baka makalimutan mo na. Okay? So we document as we do it. Okay? And then number 3 is question discrepancies. Again, you are the ethical guardian. So if any data that doesn't match your observations, you have to investigate. If the electronic health record shows a patient's vital signs from 4 hours ago, but you're observing them now, and they are different, don't just document what's on the screen. Investigate the discrepancy. Okay? At pang-apat is you report integrity issues. Kapag merong suspect of data corruption or unauthorized modification, if you notice something wrong with patient data, like for example, missing information, may biglang nagbago, strange changes, may unexplained modification, you have to report it immediately. Okay? A nurse documentation suggests suboptimal care delivery. The supervisor can suggest. No, halimbawa, yun nga, yung kapag yung nurse, no, hindi gaanong okay yung kanyang documentation, ang gagawin, pwedeng i-suggest ni supervisor is to improve the documentation to reflect better care than what was provided. Kapag yun ang suggestion ni supervisor, it's actually a serious integrity violation. Altering documentation after the fact is fraudulent and violates data integrity. So, halimbawa, yun nga, kung yun ang sinuggest ni supervisor, instead of helping, mas lalong pinalala niya yung situation. Because it will create legal liability and will compromise patient care. Oh. Because future providers will make a decision based on inaccurate information. Okay? It's 12:34. Mukhang para to prevent overload, can we have a 10-minute break before we resume, or 15 minutes? You stretch, mag-stretching kayo, minom kayo water, kumain kayo, sumubo kayo. Okay? So yun. At even ako, medyo masakit na yung bato ko. So I need to take a break ng konti lang. May I see a thumbs up kung okay sa inyo? Gusto nyo bang mag-break? Okay. Sige. I'll stop recording muna. Let's just resume later.